Are you an engineering student or a designer who really needs to come up with a quick, modern Revit architectural model but don't know how yet? Don't worry, I got your back. And in this video, we're going to see how to come up with a quick plus fancy Revit model in only 10 minutes. Hi everyone, Sam here, a civil engineer who's been practicing and instructing Autodesk Revit in all of the disciplines for about 8 years. Now, welcome to my channel, and if you haven't yet subscribed yourself to my channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below, as every week I'm gonna hit you up with a lot of tricks and hacks in Autodesk Revit or the relevant softwares down to the design phase. Now, let's take care of the business. Alright, so as you can see, this is the final model that we want to come up with. Now, in order to start drafting down this model from the scratch, what is the first essential thing that I need to do is to open up a new template. How I'm going to do that, I'm simply just going to bring my point viewer on File, then click on New, click on Project, and there you go with a new template, which is already chosen by architecture. So make sure that this place is not none, it's on a template, whether it's a default metric, architecture, or whatever that is getting used for the architectural purposes. Now simply click on OK, and there you go with this new architectural template. Here, the very first thing that you guys need to do is to set up your unit. How we would be able to set up our unit? By simply go with a shortcut of UN. So I'm just gonna press UN. There you go with this window. So exactly in front of length, there is another rectangle which you're gonna click on it. And then make sure to put the millimeters on meters. The rounding part should be on 2 decimal places, and I usually put the unit symbol on M. So that's it. Simply click on OK, another OK, and your unit is all set up. Now the second thing we need to do is to set up our levels. How we would be able to set up our levels? By simply going to a random elevation, and there we can set up our units. We can set up our levels. So as you can see here, this is the random elevation north that we are in it. So as you can see, the level is all set up. But in order to set up our levels, first we need to know what would be the organization of these levels. So I'm just gonna simply get back on the model that I have already made it before here. So as you can see, this is the model. Simply just gonna go on north. And as you can see here in this model, we have overall 4 different levels, which each is gonna be 3.20 meters in difference with the others. Okay, so I'm going to just implement the same on our own model. Simply getting back on our own model by just simply getting back on the tab that you can see up there. So as you can see, first of all, I need to readjust this value there. So simply double click on it and put 3.20. And now in order to add more levels, you just need to get back here on this panel there called Datum. Then you're simply gonna click on level. Once you clicked on level, simply put it on peak lines up there, and then you can put the offset. So the offset that we have considered for this one is 3.20. Simply put the 3.20, don't forget to turn on the non-lock. And then just simply bring the point viewer up there. And once you can see the blue cut line getting appeared there, simply just click on it. So that's it. We're all good with the levels that we need into our project. And now the very next thing that we need to do is to get into the level 1 by simply double click on level 1 on project browser and choose our wall and start to do this. Now, in order to know that what is the wall composition that we need to do, or what is the dimension that we need to do this in this project, I simply gonna return back into our own project. By clicking on default 3D view, you can just reach out to the 3D. Okay, so what I need to do is to understand that what is the spacing between the walls there, so then I can remodel this on our own model. So simply gonna get back onto level 1. As you can see, the first span is around 7 meters, and the rest of the spans is identically 5 meters. And on the other direction, it is 8 meters. And this is the wall composition that you can see. So it's a concrete wall, and the thickness of this wall is 0.20. So I'm gonna stick to the same and re-implement the same in our own model. So simply get back to our own model, click on wall, and just simply click on this drop down, and among the walls I'm simply gonna go with this generic 200 millimeters. Click on edit type. So here, since we want to do our own model, I'm going to duplicate our wall and simply going to put it as concrete wall. All right. And then in order to adjust the wall composition, you need to reach out to this edit. Here, as you can see, the thickness is all fine. We could definitely add more layers to come up with a full wall composition detail. But here, what I'm going to do is to simply click on here and choose a concrete material from the library that we have. So how I could be able to find this, since I don't want it to take the time to create our own material, is simply click on here and press concrete. So concrete, cast in situ, simply choose that, click on OK, and we are all fine. So in order to draw our own wall, what I'm going to do is to choose this from the draw panel on line, and then I'm going to put the base constraint on level 1. The top constraint, I want to put it on level 2, right? So simply just click here, and once you're done with the first click, simply press 8. So then the length of the wall is going to be 8 meters, and then press enter. So as you can see now, we're all done with the first wall. Simply press escape to get out of the order. Now, in order to have the other walls, I'm going to choose the peak line. So simply click on peak line, and then the offset, the very first offset that I need to have is 7 meters. So simply choose 7 meters, and then bring the point viewer on this side of the wall and simply click for it. So this is the 7 meter span that I'm having with the first wall. The rest, I'm going to put this simply on 5. And that's it. So those are all the walls that we need to have on the very first floor. Now, we do need to have the other wall from there. So simply just press escape to get out of the order. Click on the same wall. And here you go with create similar. So simply click on create similar. Make sure that the wall is only limited to level 1 to level 2. And from there, simply press the first click and then the last click at the end of the wall. Like this. The same will go this one. So I want to bring you to the 3D. First of all, in order to get rid of our inactive views, I simply gonna click on close inactive views. Then click on default 3D view. So as you can see, this is our walls on the very first floor. Now for the second floor, what I need to have is to just copy paste these 3 walls, except this part, right? So what I'm gonna do is simply click this and then hold the control and press all these walls all together, like that. And plus these walls as well. So in order to copy this to the clipboard and then paste them to the next level, once I select all of these stuff that I need to copy paste them, then you need to bring your point viewer here on copy to clipboard, click on it, and then next to that there is a paste icon, which simply you're gonna go for paste from clipboard, align to the selected levels, and simply go for level 2. Okay, now what I need to do is to simply make sure that these walls are all gonna get limited to only this wall. So in order to do that, I simply gonna go on modify tab, okay, and there you go here with trim extended multiple elements. Simply click on it. The very first click that you put is to make the reference. So the reference is gonna be this wall, and then the following selection are all going to get limited to the first one. So next to that, I click on this and then this. So as you can see, all these walls are all limited to only this wall. Okay, perfect. And at the end, for the last floor, what I need to have is to simply choose all these walls and copy paste them the same up there to the third level. So again, copy to the clipboard, paste, align to the selected level, bring it back to level 3. And again, I need to trim and extend them. So simply click on trim, extend, multiple elements, press this one. Again, make sure to choose the face of the wall. That's done. The next one is going to be this side with this wall and the other one. All right. I'm going to put my level of detail on fine, and I'm going to put the visual style on consistent colors to be able to see everything better. So we're all done with the walls up to this point, and what I need to do next is to make sure that I'm going to choose the floors and coming up with the floors. So in order to choose the floors, simply going to go for the architecture tab up there from the top toolbar, go with floor, simply click on it, and then open up the drop down there. Among the floors, I'm going to go with this one, standard timber wood finish. Simply click on it and then go on to the edit type to make sure that the floor composition is all good. So as you can see, simply going to click on this preview. This is the floor composition that we have for this floor. Since on our following structural model, we're going to model up the whole structural stuff, including the slabs and everything, I simply going to eliminate this one. So simply click on this and try to remove it by clicking on delete. Okay, and then you can see the thickness of this floor, which is right now around 410 millimeters. So it is 4 centimeters, 10 millimeters. Okay. What I need to have is to make sure this one is 5. So simply gonna put this on 2 and this one on 3. All right. So as you can see now, the thickness of this floor is around 5 centimeters. Click on OK. And then I simply gonna click on this top view to make sure that I'm seeing this from the top side. And then again from the draw view, click on rectangle and start to define your boundary there. So this is the boundary that I'm going to define. By the way, as you can see, all the lines are all super thin. The reason behind that is I just enabled the thin lines, so you wouldn't be able to see the lines with the actual thickness. That helps, especially at this point once you're defining the boundaries. Okay, so on the very first floor, I'm done with this one. Click on finish. And then since everything, the size, the material is all the same, I simply going to click on copy and choose the end point, bring it back to other side. Do the same thing to make sure that all these spans are all going to get filled up. Even with that one. And now in order to fulfill the whole side, I need to click on edit boundary, choose the align, click on this side, the first one, and then the second one is going to get reach out there. Cool. Click on finish. So you're all done with the first floors. Cool. Now as you can see, all these floors are all going to get copy paste up to the second floor. So I simply going to copy them. As you can see, align to the selected levels, bringing them back on the level 2. We're all good. And exceptionally, this one is going to get copy paste to the third level. So I just select the middle one, again click on copy to the clipboard, paste, align to the selected levels and bring it back on level 3. So as you can see now, we're all done with the floors. Once we're all done with the floors, now it's time to put on the roof. So in order to put on the roof, you just simply need to click on roof by footprint. So simply click on it, and then it's asking me whether I need to put this on level 2. Yes. Okay. And from the type of the roof that you guys need to select, just simply open up the drop down. This is the one that we want to use, warm roof concrete. So simply I'm going to choose for that. Then simply go on edit type to make sure that the roof composition that we have here is all fine. So we need to just make sure that we don't have any sort of structural part like the slab, as we're gonna add this later on our own structural model. So simply gonna delete this one, the concrete cast in situ part. Or instead of deleting this part, I can just bring the thickness to almost nothing. So I just like put it 1, because later on we need to join all these slabs with the walls. So we need to make sure that the very outer and the inner materials are all the same set with our walls material. Okay, so that is all fine. And the thickness of this one is around 0.16 now. So what I'm going to do is to just decrease the thickness so then I can reach out to 0.15. So I'm going to put this on 0.2 and see what happens. So as you can see, the thickness is all 15 centimeters now. We're all fine. And the top layer, I prefer to have this with the concrete, since I wanted to make sure that all these walls and slabs, or let's say the roof, are all gonna get joined together. So it will just convey this feeling that it's all a box. It's all something which is engaged together, right? So this is the concept that we're trying to implement here. So simply click on here and then type down here concrete. Again, concrete cast in situ. Click on OK, and you're all fine to go with our roof. Again, I'm going to click on this top side, choose the rectangle part, and try to do the boundary part. So simply click on here, and the other click, which you're fine with the roof boundary. Now the next thing, as you can see right now, this roof is slanted, which you can see from this symbol there. In order to get rid of this sort of slope, what you need to do is to bring your point viewer on one line, simply click on tab, then choose all these patterns, or let's say all the lines, and simply just uncheck this box, which is define roof slope. So as you can see right now, the roof is all fine. I simply gonna click for it. But the point is, we need to make sure that this boundary is all getting engaged with the wall. So in order to make sure that this is getting happen, you can use the align. So I use this one with this one with that one, same with this one. And for this one, like that, all right? It's better to just like leave it there. So simply I'm gonna click on here and that, and you're all fine with this. Cool. So what I need to do is to simply copy paste this one to the next level. So I'm gonna put this on level 3 and simply move this to there. All right, so now we need to edit the footprint there to make sure that the boundary is all getting fit with this one. So we are all fine with this. Now we need to copy paste this one to the other span. Like that. Just make sure that you're all fine and it's all getting aligned, because later on we're gonna have problems with the joining them. Okay, again, copy to the clipboard to the last level, which is gonna be the 4th one, I believe. And then making sure that it's all getting placed at the proper side. Okay, again, edit footprint and make sure that it's all getting covered with the outer side of the wall, unless we wouldn't be able to do the joining part. Cool. So now we're all fine with the box. Now it's time to make sure that everything is getting matched together. Right, so I'm gonna go to modify at this side. Okay, simply gonna click on join, as you can see, and then just simply choose the wall and choose the roof. So as you can see, the line is getting removed. So this means that the wall and the roof is all matched together. And also we need to join the walls together. Now this wall with this roof, this one. Make sure that you're joining all the walls also together simultaneously. Okay, so as you can see, since all the walls and roofs and everything is all matched together and it's getting exactly at the proper borders, so then we don't have any sort of problems in joining them. And this is the last one. All right, so as you can see, it is that we have one box. So you can like figure this out that, okay, this is made of walls and roofs which are getting all together. Basically, this is now a box. Now, the next thing that we need to do, as you can see in this design, we have another wall plus another roof there. So I'm gonna implement the same thing in our own model as well. So what I need to do is to get back on our 3D part, then only choose this wall, get back onto our 3D side, and copy this, and make sure that I'm gonna have reserve the space of 4 meters, for example, or even it could be more, let's say 5. Cool. And then I'm gonna choose this wall, make sure that the wall is all gonna get started down from level 1 till the upper level. All right. And then choosing the slab, getting on the top side, click on edit footprint, and again make sure to align the outer part of this wall with the pattern line of this roof. So if you're all fine with this, just make sure that the wall is all getting matched at the ending point. So simply gonna click on trim extend single element. This side with tab, you can choose the other side of the roof, and this part again with the help of tab, just press tab until you reach out to this side and simply click on this side of the wall. Again, we need to join them. So simply join them, and as you can see, the whole form is all done. Now what we need to do is to make sure that also the curtain walls or the storefront walls are all gonna happen into our model as well. So in order to do that, I'm gonna go to the level 1 and simply go or double click on this west elevation. All right, put this on consistent colors. Now what I need to do is to split these walls into other parts, which we can turn them to the storefront walls later on. So in order to do that, I'm simply gonna go with split with gap. And then down there, you can see the dimension. So I'm gonna, for example, go with 80 centimeters. And I'm just making sure that all these dimensions are all at the same side, all the way up and down. All right. So simply gonna get back to the 3D view, and now I can choose these walls with just simply holding the control and make sure that these walls are gonna get transferred to the storefront walls. So as you can see, this side is all done. Now what I need to have is to have the other side of the windows getting done as well. So again, I'm gonna get back to the level 1. Simply click on the south part. And then again, I'm gonna go with the split with gap. Let's say the first one is going to be the 50 centimeters, and then the size of the window that I'm going to go with it is going to be 50 centimeters as well. Then again, I want to have the 50 centimeters spacing part, another 50 centimeters, and the last one. Okay, again, getting back to the 3D. So this one, that one, and this one are gonna get to the storefront walls. So simply clicking onto this drop down, making sure to choose storefront, and automatically they're all gonna get turned into the storefront walls. Cool, we're all done with this. And then we have to go with these ones. So in order to implement this storefront walls, what I need to do is to initially go to the level 1, go on to this south elevation. Again, choosing the split with gap. I wanted to have the 50 centimeters spacing at the first side. It's fine, we'll go with the unjoin. And this side, I'm gonna go with 1 meters, again, 50 centimeters spacing. And again, 1 meter for the width of the storefront walls. All right, so simply I'm gonna choose them with just simply holding control and simply turn them into the storefront walls. Cool. Now, in order to make sure that all these storefront walls are gonna get down to the first level, what I need to do is to initially get rid of the walls there. So then later on, we can turn them down to the first floor. So what I need to do is to again choose the split with gap. So simply gonna one click there, one click in the bitbend, like in the middle of the windows. Let's get back to the level 1 and go with the south elevation to be able to do that better. Okay. Now I'm gonna get back to the 3D and simply select these walls, and this time instead of just changing them to the storefront walls, I'm gonna delete them. Okay, then choose these walls and make sure that the base constraint is gonna get back to the level 1. All right, now what I need to do is to make sure that these walls are all gonna get extended up to the border of these windows. So simply gonna click on trim extend, single element, choose this side and choose the wall. Again, make sure to choose the wall. All right. So now we're all done with this part as well. And then what we need to do at the final stage is to make sure to have the opening part on this one and being able to open up the another storefront in this one. So what I'm gonna do is to go again on the south part, simply click on this wall, go with the wall opening, and simply just put the wall opening. All right, gonna get back to the 3D. So as you can see, the opening part is done. Now what I need to do is to go onto the 3D side, put this on wireframe style so then I can see the spacing part, then get back to the wall, choose the storefront, as you can see, and simply put in storefront there. Now I'm gonna choose this, make sure that it's all gonna get up there, or instead you can do that manually. Just put it on consistent colors and simply bring this drop down up there. All right, so as you can see, we're all done with this model. Now the last step in order to make sure that we are all fine and we're all ready to start up the structural model is to make sure that we're gonna come up with the grid lines and the columns, right? Because this is gonna be the essential point in order to start up the structural model on our next following video. So then to do the columns, what we need to do first is to set up the column. So the size of the column that we have chosen for this project is going to be 35 times 25 centimeters. So simply going to get back to the top toolbar, click on the column down below, choose the architectural column, and then we need to get into the edit type setting and make sure to duplicate the column. So I'm going to put this as 350 times 250. And then on the depth size, I'm going to simply put 0.35 times 0.25 on the width. So we are all fine and set up with the column. Now it's time to set up the grid lines. So automatically we can just simply apply the columns to the grid lines and it's all going to get properly done. So in order to set up the grid lines, initially we need to get to level 1. So cool, we're now on level 1. Now in order to set up the grid lines, first we need to know how to do that. So I'm simply gonna bring the point viewer onto the datum tab to the top toolbar, click onto the grid lines, choose the pick line, and as you remember, the size of the column was 35 at one side and 25 at the other side. So I'm gonna just simply divide them into the half, and then choose the pick line and put the value up there into the offset. So 35 divided by 2 is going to be 0.175. And the reason behind this is that we wanted to make sure that the columns are all going to get engaged and embraced into the building. So not even like one column is going to get popped up from the wall, which is going to be simply a disaster. So make sure to always compute down the grid lines and then later on put your columns onto it. So I simply choose the pick line and then the offset is 0.175. I'm going to click one here. The next one is going to be in here, there, this one, and the last one is going to be here. All right. And for the other side, for the horizontal part, instead of 0.175, I'm going to divide 25 by 2. So it's going to be 0.125 and simply bring the point viewer down there and up there. All right. So we're all done with these grid lines. I simply, in order to maximize them, I'm going to choose them all. Go to the filter, just simply press uncheck none, choose the grid lines, and right click on one of those grid line. Once you already right click them, select, you can just simply maximize 3D extents from here. It's all cool. In order to make sure that all these bubbles are gonna get numerically and properly organized on the top side, I simply gonna check this box and this one and uncheck the lower ones. So for the horizontal part, we're all fine and organized. But for this side, I simply gonna check this box and then replace these bubbles with the letters. So simply double click onto the bubbles, put A, put B, and there you go with the organized grid lines. So now it's time to replace the architectural columns into it. Simply go to the architectural column, choose them, and then make sure that it's only from it's on height and from level 2, since we're on level 1, and simply you can put this column. In order to rotate the column, simply press space. So as you can see, it's perfectly getting done there. The snap is there. I simply gonna bring the point viewer onto the cross section of the grid lines and automatically the columns getting placed there. All right, gonna get back to the 3D and simply orbit into the project. As you can see, there is no column getting popped up from the walls. So what I need to do is to make sure that the columns are all gonna get copy paste to the other levels. So simply, since here I do have another column, I simply gonna choose it, right click on it, and simply choose select all instance visible in view. So we have already chosen all the columns. I simply gonna copy paste to the clipboard and then paste it aligned to all the levels. And then simply I can just remove them wherever they're not demanded. So for example, this part, I'm going to delete them all. Same with here. And there you go, with all the columns getting placed. To just make sure that all the columns are all perfectly done, simply choose one column, just bring the point viewer onto the temporary hide isolate icon down to the down toolbar, and simply click on isolate category. So as you can see, the columns are all perfectly done into our model. And now I'm just simply going to right click on the same icon and put it on reset temporary hide isolate. Yeah, that's it. So now don't forget to check out our next video, which is going to be for the concrete structural model of the same model that we have done so far. So we're going to go through the phase of building up the columns, the footings, the beams, and then later on we're going to reinforce them with the rebars. And if you haven't yet subscribed yourself to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, as every week I'm going to hit you up with a new video. Thank you and bye for now.